Hello and welcome, guys. Thank you again for joining me for another night of Facebook Live. We're finishing up our 3 of 3 in freedom in forgiveness. We're talking tonight about how you can experience the freedom in forgiveness and wrapping this session up. And tomorrow we will be moving into overcoming the barriers of mediocrity. So I hope that you have enjoyed our series on freedom and forgiveness, and I am so glad and grateful that you've decided to join me once again tonight. I hope also that everyone has had a beautiful Easter Sunday. It is truly indeed a blessing to be in the land of the living. Also, if you have any questions tonight regarding forgiveness, or you'd just like to make a comment, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. And as you're logging on with me tonight, go ahead and like and share this video. All right, guys. Tonight, I shouldn't hold you long. It's just something that I wanted to kind of give you some insight and some closure on forgiveness, because we have talked so much about how not being able to forgive, how it affects our lives. It impacts our lives in so many ways, more than we know, because some things in life we can take so for granted, and that we're so focused naturally on the negative side of things that we miss or fail to see the awesomeness that life has to offer when our perception is in a negative standpoint, okay? So it matters always about the state of our mind. And if you're struggling in areas of your life, one of the things you want to do to start building yourself up is just taking this mind of ours that has been so conditioned to negativity and failures and fear, just all kinds of negative things that bombard our mind all throughout the day. That is where you start to make the transition in your life. Now, one thing that I realize is that knowledge is good. Knowledge is good. Having resources is good. But if you never apply that in the areas of your life to where you need the improvements, then having all the knowledge in the world is not going to do you any good. So we must be wise. We must be intentional with our life. So tonight I just wanted to share with you how you experience the freedom in forgiveness. And we've already discussed how hard it is. And if you missed those videos, the first 2 videos, please go back and watch those and watch them again and again and again until you can explore and figure out what works for you. Where are you trapped in your life? Because that's what it's all about. We all have our areas of growth and development. We all have those areas where we can improve. And there is no 2 of us alike. There is no one formula that is going to work for all of us, because we all have different experiences. We all have our different perceptions of what those experiences are. But one thing you can rest assured, if you take all the hurt and the trauma and the abuse and the neglect and the betrayals, and if you take all that, look at it, write it down, whatever you have to do to get it before you, and you just give it over. And I mean just completely just confess it with your mouth. Give it over to your spiritual connector. There's an exchange that takes place at that time. That's just like you hear in the scripture sometimes where it talks about taking your ashes and exchanging it for beauty. That's just like me taking a dollar bill and going to a store, and I give the clerk my dollar bill in exchange for merchandise. This is all it is. All it is. However, if you can't verbally say it, write it down. If you can't write it down, record it. Do whatever it is you have to do to put it before you, and then give it to your spiritual connector. Allow that higher power that you believe in to begin to do the work. Because we hold the hands of our Creator when we tend to continue to hold on to things. So there's no freedom in that. But when we give it over and say, I did what I could and I've messed up, but now it's in your hands. Please take it. Please take it, and I'll let you have your perfect will. When we can do that, there's an exchange that takes place. So in the place of all of that unforgiveness, that lack of self-confidence, that lack of self-love, all of that, you know what he's going to replace it with? He's going to replace it with love and humility. That's when you know that you have that freedom in forgiving. You give it freely. Love without conditions, humility without pride. At that point, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You don't need anyone else to affirm you. You don't need anyone else to help you identify with who you are. You know well who you are, and you're satisfied with who you are. And you're going to begin to work on you and begin to grow and develop you in the areas that's best for you. Because when you have freedom, you're no longer bound by what somebody else thinks or what somebody else says. Because when you release all that unforgiveness from your heart, it's a game changer. I can't tell you how good it feels to know that you can live this life and not have to conform to the likes of somebody else or be controlled by the power or the hand of somebody else, that you realize that you have your own mind and the choices you make for your life are just fine. And if you miss it doing what you believe within your heart is what God's will is for your life, or whoever your spiritual connect is, their will for your life, that you are connected to the source, the true source that gives you life. So it's all about love without conditions. This is freedom. Love without conditions. That means I can love you no matter what. I don't have to just pick and choose when to love you and put conditions on it. No, you're free. You're free at that point, right? Awesome, guys. Thank you for logging in and joining me. I appreciate that. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment sections. Like and share this video. I said I was not going to hold you long. I just wanted to share with you how awesome it is to experience freedom in forgiveness. It's like we're going to the store and we're going to make an exchange. I heard this all my life and I never really understood. What is that? Exchanging your ashes for beauty for ashes and that was said. I never understood that. But it's a revelation in it. We carry around all this hurt, all this dead stuff, dead weight, unforgiveness, bitterness, anger, all this. But do you know you don't have to live the rest of your life carrying that weight around? When you release that, you automatically get a freedom that passed that understanding of this natural mind. Freedom that we no longer have to live by the likes of somebody else, no longer controlled under the powers of somebody else. We can think for ourselves. So that is the freedom. We get love without conditions. We get the humility without pride. And remember, we talked about pride in one of our earlier videos, how it's so puffed up and it always wants to portray a certain image or a certain lifestyle to lift ourselves up and puff ourselves up and make somebody else feel inferior. So we already know that that's on the negative side of things. But when we become humble and we have that spirit of humility, we know that that is a characteristic of our spiritual connector. And we know that because we forgive, we're given something that can sustain us through any hard times that could ever come back along. Right? Love and humility. You have that, that's something that will sustain you. That's something that carry you through some tough times. That's something that you need to stand on during this pandemic that we have going on now. That's the only thing that I believe that keeps me a lot of times, that keeps me grounded. Because I know that I have a love without conditions. My kids don't have to be doing 100% and just right and what I need them to be and me trying to control them and all that. My husband doesn't have to rub my feet and get my coffee and all this just the way I want it when I want it. No, we love at that point without conditions. And when we found ourselves in a place to where we're frustrated and something rising up, then we know we can look back and say, you know what? I'm feeling this way because maybe I'm trying to control somebody else. Is that loving without conditions? No. That's trying to control somebody and manipulate somebody to conform to the way you want them to be and all that. So when we're free and we're forgiven and we've forgiven all those that has hurt us and caused us pain, we begin to love people without conditions. In spite of, we love them. So if we're upset, we don't look at them and pass the blame and what they done. No, we assume that responsibility for ourselves, and we say, hey, you know what? We have our own minds. And just like we had to find our way, they have to find that way. So we can't put these conditions on people. We have to learn what it is. What is love? Love is unconditional. Love is not all this emotional stuff, all this attachment and all this manipulating and control that we've been taught love is. No, it's not abuse. It doesn't hurt. None of that. What hurts is when we try to fix it. We try to fix it and put it in our own little box and put our own spin on it. That's not the way God does. He's not that. He doesn't give us freedom and then take and control our mind. He doesn't do that. He doesn't turn us into robots. He gives us freedom and continue to give us a will, our own will, to do, and he gives us wisdom and knowledge to do and apply things to our life as we see. But if our minds and our focus is connected to him, he will not lead us astray. And that's when you find so much freedom that you love without conditions. And back to that humility, guys. Someone that doesn't have a humble spirit, it ought to be a light bulb going off. It's not about being prideful and trying to portray an image and try to make somebody think a certain way, or you esteeming yourself high and somebody else low. That's not freedom. That's pride and manipulation tactics. We don't do that. When you are free, I don't know no free person that want to see somebody else bound unless something wrong with you. It just doesn't work that way. I'm free. I want to see everybody around me free. You free, you ought to want to see everybody around you free. That comes with a humble spirit. We should never want to esteem ourselves so high that we have to minimize someone else to maintain that high. It just doesn't work. So if you truly want to experience the freedom and forgiveness, you must take all your ashes and just give it over to your spiritual connector. You must. And in exchange, when you make that exchange, you'll get love and humility. And then you go and you work on yourself. You go back and take back control of your mind. You go back and you take back control of your environment. You go back and you take control of your finances. You go back and take back all that power that has been taken away from you all these years. You go back and take it back. But you do it in the spirit of love, and you do it in the spirit of humility. Guys, I hope that you guys have been blessed tonight. I hope that you guys just go back and watch these videos. Forgiveness, it's a lot to comprehend because we have so much hurt and so much baggage that we've drug along with us for so long. We think that it's us. We think that we're just like this. We think that we're just angry just to be angry because of what they done. Not so. When Jesus Christ died upon that cross, which is what I believe he died, and I believe that everything, all sin, he took to the cross with him. And not only that, he conquered all of it when he rose up again. And that's why I am so excited to be here and alive and well on this Resurrection Sunday. You too can be resurrected and enjoy a life, freedom, and forgiveness. Guys, you guys have a good night. I appreciate you all.